Welcome, and thank you for joining us today to talk about how you can help your brands find some certainty in an uncertain world. My name is Arthur Sevilla, and I lead the Insights Strategy team here at Pinterest. We're excited to have you join us today. We know it's a really busy time, and we thank you for your attention. We've been fielding a lot of questions from agency partners about how to think about Pinterest given recent macroeconomic and industry changes. We decided to put together this webinar to help inform you and advise you of strategies and insights you can bring your clients as we head into the final stretch of the all-important Q4 time period. Today's session will be divided in 3 sections. First, a share out of some recent research we did on how people on Pinterest are shifting their spending behavior amidst rising inflation and economic uncertainty. This research is right out of the books. It's just concluded a few weeks ago, and some interesting thoughts to share with you today. Next, I'll discuss themes such as brand safety, trust, engaging in future-oriented planning behavior, and the importance of understanding when consumers are in a commercial mindset versus a conversational mindset to help ground you why Pinterest is different. And last, to ensure this webinar is immediately actionable, I will quickly share some vertical-specific recommendations responding to business challenges we're hearing from primary verticals such as retail, financial services, CPG, entertainment, and travel. Let's get into it. It was not too long ago, at the beginning of the year, when people were ready to let loose in 2022, following a long 2 years of lockdown. We all kind of remember that collective sigh of relief saying, the pandemic is finally over. But alas, 2022 did not deliver as expected. That emotional release we all needed just never came. COVID remains ever looming, war rages abroad, political strife continues domestically. And on top of all of that, inflation is ever looming in every aspect of our lives. At Pinterest, we wanted to understand how people were reacting to this economic uncertainty. Indeed, our research confirms our hypothesis. 70% of consumers have told us that they are, yes, anxious about rising prices of goods and services. 2 in 3 consumers have said that they're going to be making some significant changes to the products and brands that they buy as a result of prices going up. And as worrisome as that situation may seem, all of this change is happening in our industry, it actually presents quite an opportunity for brands. This means most people are in play. They're here assessing what brands and services are meeting their needs. And it is in that assessment time period where there's great opportunity. Every dollar must work harder for everyone. That's clear. But what choices are people making when actually dedicating their dollars? Well, we found people on Pinterest are embracing this sense of taking control. They're not back on their heels in a woe is me type manner. They're actually saying, no, I can make choiceful decisions to protect and serve my family. People on Pinterest are not passively sitting back. They are actively being more thoughtful about where to spend and where to save. It's this more choiceful, this more intentional purchasing decision that I want to double click in a bit further. Compared to a year ago, nearly all Pinterest users say they are thinking more carefully about what and where to make their purchasing behaviors. The challenge is set. You have to earn people's dollars. So what's the solution? Just slash prices? Is that the best way to earn their dollar? We dug into what drives pinners' purchasing choices, and the answer is no. Do not just slash prices. In fact, we found that price alone does not drive purchasing decision. Value does. It's not about price, it's about value. Well, what does value mean? For Pinterest users, the #1 way they would describe value is getting a high quality product and service at a good or fair price. So I want to call attention to this elevation of quality. It's not that they'll be spending less, that they'll be making choiceful decisions more impactful decisions for reaching for quality that meet their needs. This is a very important distinction because as people's economic situations constrain, a natural tendency is let's just drop prices to get that demand. In fact, that's not the case, and that's not what pinners are saying we should do. Unpacking value a little bit more, we see that products that can be used for a good long time, quality can be used by multiple people. All of these are introducing the concept of quality over price. In fact, price doesn't even meet the top 5 attributes when defining value. It's listed here as 6th. So I close this little section to say Pinterest is playing a critical role in helping people find value to ensure that the products and services that they are looking for meet the quality threshold that they're needing to deliver against today. Compared to people on other digital platforms, people on Pinterest are nearly twice as likely to say that Pinterest helps them find products and brands that offer good value and helps them spend their money more wisely. That's a critical point to be. It's a critical differentiation in this uncertain economic time. So stepping into why would they think Pinterest is a platform that helps them spend their money more wisely, that helps them find and meet brands and services that deliver that high bar of quality? What is it about the Pinterest environment that consumers are seeking? We believe it is all about the inspirational environment and the mindset that consumers are in. On Pinterest, you can build your business and build a better internet. Because at Pinterest, we believe it's different here. Fundamentally, we are a different type of digital platform than our competitive set. Consumer behavior on the platform is different. Consumer intention on the platform is different. The environment is different. At Pinterest, we've created an inspirational environment that is trusted, not toxic. An important critical distinction amongst our competitive set. In fact, 9 out of 10 people on Pinterest call Pinterest an online oasis. 9 in 10. It's near unanimous. When compared to other digital platforms and seeking, is this an online oasis? Only 3 out of 10 say other digital platforms deliver that type of description. And this is not just self-proclaimed positioning. Insider Intelligence just recently launched a digital trust survey. And in that survey, in September of this year, they ranked Pinterest as #1 in the overall ranking of trust among leading digital platforms, taking the #1 spot from LinkedIn, a great platform as well. But look at the comparative and where other digital platforms land in that all-important trust nomenclature. We are ranked #1, not just because of trust, but because of the descriptions of trust that include ad relevancy and ad experience. The same study shows that negative content is increasing and increasing at a significant rate on other digital platforms. Negative discourse may drive engagement. It may drive clicks. It even may drive time spent on platform, but it does not drive brand affinity. I refer back to our co-founder, Ben Silberman, and he stated very clearly at the origins of Pinterest. On Pinterest, it's different. And we believe positivity on platforms does not happen by accident. It has to be deliberately engineered that way. You have to make choices in how you construct this platform to actually land in a positive environment. Our content policies engineered to build a positive environment, that's not a response to recent events. That's not a change in behavior over the last 6, 12, or 24 months. It has been from our origin. As far back as 2017, Pinterest has been battling misinformation. In 2017, we were blocking anti-vaccination content. As early as 2018, we banned political advertising. And all the way till today in 2022, we've initiated a climate change misinformation policy on a very important topic. Again, you have to deliberately engineer to build a positive environment, not just run fast and break things. Consumers have made their opinion clear. It is the brand's responsibility, and in turn, agencies that are stewards of these brands, to monitor the context of how their brands are showing up. 2 out of 3 adults agree. It is the brand's responsibility to deliver a safe, positive place and avoid negative content. If you don't do so, you're essentially implying endorsement. You're saying that negativity, my brand's okay with it. There's a negative perception and a halo that results from that context. And ultimately, your brand's trust and LTV is degraded. We believe context matters. In fact, I'll make it as clear as can be. We believe the era of cheap reach is now going to give way to the return of relevancy and context. Turns out, it pays to be positive. If you're seeking a more positive environment and you deliver branded content in that environment, 6 out of 10 adults agree that you are more likely as a brand to be remembered, to feel positive towards, to be trusted, and ultimately to purchase. These are all qualities you should aspire your brands to achieve: to be remembered, to be positive, trusted, and ultimately to be purchased. Today, more than ever, it literally pays to be positive. A second area, moving past trusted and not toxic, I'd like to talk about a planning mindset, thinking about tomorrow versus today. On Pinterest, people are planners. They're future focused. There are fantastic digital platforms that we compete against, but they operate in different timeframes. We might be taking a photo of a great party we had this weekend and post it onto our social media, spreading FOMO to share how we've enjoyed ourselves over the past. We might even create some stories of where we are today. Again, in the present. Pinterest doesn't operate in either of those mindsets. We actually operate in the future orientation. I want to do something. I want to take that trip. I want to remodel my home. I want to build my outfit, my attire. It's a tomorrow motion. And in that tomorrow motion, there is inherently a much higher commercial intention. If you as a brand or service know what your consumers are wanting to achieve tomorrow, if you're relevant in getting them to achieve that goal, you're additive to the experience. There is no tax on advertising on Pinterest. There's just an increase in relevancy of content if, in fact, you match your content, your services, your solutions to the actions and goals your consumers are trying to achieve. The digital ecosystem is going through significant change and uncertainty. And this Q4 time period is most valuable. It is too valuable for brands to risk their investment. As a future-oriented platform rooted in planning behavior, it's no surprise that the holiday starts early on Pinterest. Christmas in July, well, not exactly Christmas in July, but certainly Christmas in October. If you look at these graphs, the red line represents search terms related to, on the top, Thanksgiving, or on the bottom, Christmas or holiday seasons. And the red line represents Pinterest search queries, an index thereof. And the white line represents the leading search engine. In both cases, you can see searches on Pinterest growing exponentially faster and earlier, ramping up much more quickly. That bump that you see on the Christmas or holiday season, that is literally the weekend after Halloween. As soon as Halloween is over, pinners are ready to put up some mistletoe. Take advantage of that. And don't solely rely on Cyber Week, right? There's a couple of great days, Black Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. These are great days. But independent research from eMarketer confirms that's only representing about 20% of total holiday shopping in Cyber Week. 20%, less than that. Take advantage of the full holiday season, right? And the holiday season is not just the week of Christmas or the weeks up to Christmas. There are many major and micro holiday moments that pinners are taking advantage of. In fact, they're looking forward to new traditions that they've built over the COVID time period and continuing them well past pandemic years as new behaviors, as new traditions. Well, what do I mean? There are many micro moments that are being planned on Pinterest. Think Friendsgiving, ugly sweater party, secret Santas, small business Tuesday. All of these moments have something to say, have something of relevancy for your brands to engage in. Take advantage of the major and the micro moments as pinners are in a complete planning mindset. More moments for pinners means more ways for you to engage with consumers in meaningful ways. We did some measurement research, and last year we found advertisers who engaged across multiple moments, both micro and major, saw a 4x increase in conversion rates, 4x, versus advertisers who only activated for the holiday time period. That's significant. That delta is important. And in Q4, even more so. Take advantage of the fact that pinners are planners and are engaging in both major and micro moments. And finally, I move to the third chapter. We talked about trust versus toxic, today versus tomorrow. And I'll close with commerce versus conversation. We want to fundamentally understand why people are on digital platforms. According to Global Web Index, US consumers state that the #1 reason for going on Pinterest is to find information about products and brands. They're literally saying it out loud. I'm here with a commercial mindset. I'm here to engage with brands. Show me and engage with me so I can take advantage of your products and services. Compare that to the #1 reason consumers state they use TikTok, and that is to find funny and entertaining content. It's great. Love it. Endless scrolling. But is there commercial intention there? The #1 reason for using Twitter, to keep up to date with the news. Perhaps if your brand has something to say in the present, in the very moment, but is there absolute commercial intention, a future-oriented commercial intention there to take advantage of? An inspirational, trusted, safe, and future-oriented platform makes consumers more likely to try and buy from your brands. A survey conducted by Nielsen across 7 countries affirms that 8 out of 10 consumers, 80% of consumers, agree with that statement, that an inspirational environment or mindset makes them more likely to try and buy. That is a universal fact. Pinners come to Pinterest with an open mindset. They're here navigating and exploring an unknown need that has yet to be solved. But they leave decided. They navigate through their journey and they leave decided. And ultimately, when they leave decided, they buy more. People on Pinterest are exploring. We have billions of search queries every month, billions across the globe. And when we rank the top searches, 97%, almost all searches are unbranded. That's to say, pinners are here exploring trendy braid styles. They're here ideating a possibility, a starting point. They're not here to merely direct existing demand. Pinterest generates that initial demand. There's a trigger moment that happens on Pinterest that takes people from inspiration to realization. They navigate both visually, searching, saving, creating boards, and ultimately coalesce to their own style. They came undecided, but they leave somewhat clearer as to what they want to go purchase or execute against. When you leave Pinterest, you're decided. In fact, Pinterest drives 10 times more higher brand searches off platform than other platforms. This means that when people come to Pinterest, they don't have an idea of a brand, but when they leave Pinterest, they've made that decision clear. You want to be in that decision journey. You want to be present when they're navigating through choices. And when they ultimately leave, that journey that they've been on from inspiration to action, from navigating an unknown brand entity into understanding what brands they want to engage with, it leads to larger baskets. Larger baskets for one purchase ultimately leads to higher LTV, long-term value for consumers. And that's what every brand is striving for. FOSPA, an outside third-party agency, has concluded in their State of the E-commerce Advertising Report for Q1 of this year that on Pinterest, campaigns yield 17% larger baskets than against paid shopping campaigns. That is a significant number over time, increasing consumer LTV. Ultimately, Pinterest, it's different here. We've built a platform of trust, not toxicity. We've built a platform where consumers are navigating tomorrow, not just amplifying today. And ultimately, we built a platform where branded content is additive and relevant. Why? Because consumers are here in a commercial, intentional mindset, not just here to conversate. We move to the third part of our time together, and that is, how can you help? What can you do? What are some tips for holiday growth that you can execute immediately? We'll start with retail home. We heard industry challenges that consumers are actually much more thoughtful with their spend on home furnishing and fashion, right? Holding back. That's probably true. But remember, we found research that consumers are not spending less, they're just being more thoughtful about what they're purchasing. Reaching people early in the decision is critical. Retailers who over-rely on last-click metrics will miss the opportunity to see their full return on media investment. We asked you to inspire consumers with a full room imagery, specifically in the home category. Give them full room imagery that can lead to purchasing of adjacent categories. If you're selling a couch, perhaps they'll buy a coffee table. If you're building an outfit and highlighting a sweater, perhaps they'll love the shoes that match. Engage in that full visual discovery that's so prevalent on Pinterest. 1 in 2 people on Pinterest who bought home decor purchases made their decisions at least a few weeks ahead of purchase. What does that say? That means if you're measuring last click attribution on a 771 attribution window, you're doing yourself a disservice because they've made their brand choices weeks ahead of time, and oftentimes weeks ahead of time on Pinterest. Shifting to financial services, inflation, hot topic that we started with. Inflation and higher interest rates are causing some consumers to pause some major spending decisions. Not so on Pinterest, actually. People on Pinterest have planned ahead to continue to meet their financial goals. In fact, we did a survey, and 8 in 10 people on Pinterest say they will put more effort into achieving their financial goals in 2023, being more purposeful in where they spend and where they save. We believe the time is now to continue to inspire major moments. Our survey executed in August of this year specifically says people on Pinterest are likely to say that they are financially ready and still planning for major life moments. They're ready. They're not pulling back. They're leaning forward. Specifically, they're still buying homes 1.4 times more than average. They're still having babies, and they're still willing to travel, all of which are major financial decisions, all of which financial service brands and services can help execute against. Let's double into the travel because we mentioned it. Travel is raging on Pinterest. Travel planning is raging on Pinterest. Consumers are becoming more discerning with their spend and reprioritizing travel plans and destinations. Well, actually, Pinners are ready to take off. They are ready to travel. They have been throughout the whole year. In fact, many of them are. 3 in 4 people on Pinterest will take a domestic or international trip at least once a year. And the action is to continue to inspire where their next travel destination should be. 1 in 2 pinners are planning to make a trip in the next 6 months. That's 20% higher than people not on Pinterest. So we've got the travelers. Keep engaging with them, inspiring them where to go next. Looking at CPG, brands are facing headwinds with consumers tightening their budgets and becoming more sensitive. But we found on Pinterest, people are actually not reducing everyday expenses. 1 in 2 people on Pinterest are spending more on groceries than they did last year. Perhaps they're cutting back on going out of home, restaurants, but they're certainly spending more eating in. That 1 in 2 is 25% higher than the competitive average. We recommend taking advantage of the holiday season surge to increase loyalty programming, to understand what new users you've come into your franchise and how to hold on to them. 1 in 2 people on Pinterest are considering beauty or personal care items for holiday gifts this year. Holiday gifting is a tremendous behavior on the platform. Encourage them to try new brands. Moving to entertainment, as families come together during the holiday season, entertainment brands need to compete for consumers' attention. That's not new, but it's ever more present today. We believe entertainment is the anchor of a memorable holiday experience. 1 in 2 people on Pinterest are going to spend just as much or more on entertainment products and services than they did last year. 1 in 2 are spending just as much or more on entertainment products or services. Promote new entertainment properties this holiday season, right? Pinners are 25% more likely to have paid for a movie or download in the last 30 days. This is a higher income consumer cohort that is highly engaged in entertainment services, and they're calling attention that they're wanting to do so even more so in the Q4 time period. Moving to tech and telco, perhaps there's an industry challenge that slowing demand leads to marketing budget cuts and driving towards only performance-based strategies. Well, we believe consumers electronics are a highly sought after gifting category. And that's the nuance there. Think of consumer electronics as a gifting opportunity. 4 in 10 pinners are considering gifting holiday consumer electronics this season. It is becoming one of the most popular categories for gifting. And it's quite an expensive one with a high checkout value. Smartphones, streaming services, wearable devices, all of which are 2 times more likely to be gifted this holiday season than they were last holiday season, according to people on Pinterest. Take advantage of that behavior and the signal thereof. Moving to auto, vehicle inventory levels are starting to slowly improve, but macroeconomic headwinds are threatening to offset any of that momentum. The auto purchase requires inspiration throughout the entire journey. People on Pinterest are 60% more likely to say that they've made an auto purchase based on content they saw on the platform. And now is not the time to stop engaging with these high intentional consumers. 1 in 5, and this is actually a pretty big number, 20% of people on Pinterest are planning to purchase a car in the next 6 months amidst this economic uncertainty. That is a significant number to take advantage of, and it's 15% higher than the competitive average. And lastly, QSR, as inflation drives up menu prices, consumers are searching for value. We agree with that. People on Pinterest are defining value differently, though. They're not defining value as lowest price. We started that at the beginning of our journey, right? People on Pinterest are 40% more likely to define value as variety in the QSR space. So do not rely simply on price as the driver of choice during this holiday busy season. Think about convenience, variety, availability as reasons to engage and share your message on Pinterest to people who are seeking QSR solutions. To close, Pinterest is delivering certainty in an uncertain time. First, people are making thoughtful choices with their finances. Deliver value through quality, not simply driving down the price. Engage on Pinterest, because on Pinterest, people are actually saying, when I engage on Pinterest, I have the information to make smarter choices that make me spend more wisely. Why? Because on Pinterest, it's different here. We're a trusted environment, not a toxic one, where context matters. Consumers are noticing what and where your brand is showing up with. It's your responsibility to monitor that and deliver a safe brand value increasing environment. Commerce, tomorrow versus today. Make sure you're influencing tomorrow. Make sure you're navigating a future-oriented mindset, not just navigating conversations of today. And finally, people on Pinterest are here to do, not just passively scroll. We're here to navigate a commercial mindset, not just a conversation. And finally, Q4 is no time to stall and delay. Now is the time to engage with consumers, to take advantage of the holiday season, to ensure that you're meeting consumers where they are with the products and services that they're seeking to engage with. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you found this session informative and useful. As next steps, if you'd like to discuss any of what you've learned today with your Pinterest team, please reach out to one of your Pinterest account reps or your agency team lead so we can get you connected. If you're unsure who that person may be, please email my colleague Ashley on the screen. We thank you again for your time. We wish you and your clients all the best as we close out the Q4 season. And of course, we are always here to help however we can.